Welcome to Around Kitsap. This is a program where we focus on one in particular topic, and it is a beautiful afternoon. We're at the Clear Creek Trail, and I'm with my new friend Rick Catron. Rick is a Volks marcher, and we're going to hear about that today. Volks marching used to be Volks sporting, Volks marching used to be very popular in our community. You'd hear a lot about it. It's all about walking. And then it kind of went away. Well, Rick came to our community about a year ago or so, and he's an avid Volks marcher, and he's rekindling it per se. Welcome, Rick.
Well, thanks, Char. I'm so glad to be here. As you know, I moved up from Portland about a year ago, and I've been Volks walking down in Portland for about 3.5 years. As a kid, I always enjoyed walking. As a high school student, I enjoyed hiking. That first trip to Europe, I did the backpack thing.
Nice.
And to this day still, my best vacations are those vacations I can get out and walk, get out and hike, and see communities on my feet.
That's awesome. So tell us about the concept of Volks marching,
Yeah.
Volks sporting. What does it mean?
Volks sporting started in Germany, and it's the people's sport.
People sport.
And in Germany, traditionally on Sunday afternoons, you, your husband, the kids, grandma, all go out and have a walk. And you go out through the villages, you go out through the woods, you go out to the towns, and just have a walk. Get off the couch. Mm-hmm. And afterwards, you get together and you socialize. The adults have an adult beverage. The kids have a kid beverage, but it was always meant to be a family activity. Here in the States, a serviceman saw that and brought it back to this country back in the late 60s. And you're right, it has been very popular over the years. Traditional Volks sports are Volkswalks, but we also have Volks bicycling events, swimming events, and in some communities, cross-country skiing and snowshoeing. Just depends on the community.
Very cool. So is it an organized? So tell us now what's happening currently in Kitsap.
Well, I am the new president as of July 1st. And I want to do some new things to try to get more people into this sport. Mm-hmm. Now you can look at me, you can see I'm not an athlete. Never have been an athlete, but I've always been an active person. Mm-hmm. And I needed to do something a few years ago to lose weight. So I got on the Weight Watchers program about the same time I discovered Volkswalking.
Nice.
And when I went to my very first walk event, I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. I thought, this is kind of different. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, but I did the walk, and I was really surprised how much I liked it. I liked it so much, I joined that particular club back in the Portland area. And what a Volkswalk was, the one I went to was referred to as a traditional event. They gave you a map, and you go out on the trail, and you would follow the arrows, and it would lead you in essentially a circle. Most Volkswalks they're all done in metric, but don't let that frighten you. It's 5K or 10K traditionally, which is 3.1 or 6.2 miles to us here in the States. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that first walk was just a real fun walk. It was in a city park in the Portland area. I loved it. And I did join the club, but I was a little hesitant getting involved in that particular club. Mm-hmm. It took me a couple months to get out and actually do another walk. But I went with someone in the club, and that made a big difference. So I had a mentor, and I learned about the different types of walks. All the walks these days are rated 1 to 5. 1 being very easy, 5 being straight up. Now most walks are rated 1 and 2, but the rating also talks about the surface level and the terrain. If a walk is rated an A, it's going to be flat and paved. If it's a D or an E, it's going to be rocky and uneven. Right. Awesome. Most of our walks are rated A's and B's. Mm-hmm. So most people can get out and do a walk. And most of the walks you can go out on a wheelchair or go out with a baby stroller. Again, getting back to that intergenerational event for all ages.
Very cool. So we are at the Clear Creek Trail today. Beautiful spot here in Silverdale. What is the Clear Creek Trail rated? Do you have any idea, Rick?
This is rated a 1A and a 1B, depending on the section of the trail.
Right, right. So, because there are some gravelly dirt
Yes.
spots, but relatively flat.
Relatively flat. And
Majorly
I
flat.
like that, I'll be honest.
yeah.
I don't do hills as well as I used
Right,
to.
right. So, when folks are going to a Volks March event, you can plan on having a map. When you get to a certain location,
You're supposed to have a map. On those rare events, you don't have them, but you're supposed to have walking instructions and a map.
And a map.
Yeah.
And you were just showing me a little booklet. When you have those booklets, when you go to an event, do they get checked off or stamped, or how does that work?
The books are a good way of tracking your walks. They're certainly not required. In fact, our walks are free. You can do
That's a good point.
99% of our walks for free. Very few of our walks do you have to pay anything. And if you are paying, it's generally $3 for a walk. And what that is, it's an administrative cost.
Sure.
Help us track it and help with the overhead for the club.
Sure.
But we have two books. We have a book for the number of events you do and the amount of distance you do. Those are the typical two books. Now there's other books you can get and do different sorts of challenges. As I was telling you, our club's doing a new challenge this year. It's called the Centennial Challenge. To do 100 walks a year. That might seem like a lot, but 100 walks a year is only about 2 walks a week if you average it out.
True, true.
Here it is, the first week of August, and I have, to this point, done 88 walks this year. So I'm going to finish my 100 walks really easy here
Yes.
before the month is over. That's
Sure.
a given.
Oh, yeah. You walk probably 3 times a week, 2 or 3?
I always walk on weekends, and during the summer we've been doing a summer walking series. So I've been out on the trails
With your club.
every Tuesday night this week.
So every time you walk, you try to find a Volks event, or when you're walking on your own,
It's really easy to find the events. Everything's online these days.
Sure, sure.
And if you go to the webpage AVA, American Volks Sporting Association, there's a huge menu there, and you break it down by state. So I still go down to Portland pretty often, so I'm looking for events in Oregon and Washington. But there is an event almost every weekend, and usually there's multiple events. You need to decide what you're going to do. Now this past weekend, I told you I was up at Deception Pass on Whidbey Island. There was another event at Mima Falls near Olympia this past weekend. So you have choices.
So Rick, tell us a little bit more about the Kitsap Club.
Yes.
Are there meetings per se?
Yes.
How organized is it? Give us some more information
Well,
on
the
that.
club's been around about 20 years. Our club has their meetings on the trail after a walk.
Oh, that's great.
We do group walks typically the first and third Saturday of every month. And those start about 9:15 in the morning. The schedule is on our webpage, so you'll know where to go from week to week and month to month. And then we have quarterly meetings after the walk. Now I want to mix things up a little bit. Again, I'm new, I want to try a few things. We're really fortunate to have REI coming into the Silverdale community in October. They have a community meeting room. They like to interact with outdoor groups, and I would like to have at least one of our meetings there, maybe as a night meeting, and bring a speaker in and talk about traveling and walking and something a little different, just mix it up a little bit.
Really exciting, really. How many members are there in Kitsap in Volks Marching?
Our club probably has about 25 members. We're considered one of the smaller clubs. And a lot of these folks have been with this club for 15 and 20 years.
Wow.
So they've been doing it a long time.
Right.
And that was typical of my club down in Portland also.
Uh-huh.
A lot of these people have been doing it 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. One thing I learned really early with Volkswalking, there was a social aspect to this. I didn't know anything about that. I've always done my hikes on my own or maybe with just a buddy. But if you're looking for someone to walk with, this gives you an opportunity to walk with others. So you can...
And get to know other folks and...
Absolutely.
Especially if you're going, out of town and maybe you don't know anybody, a Volkswalk would be a really good way to learn about the local area.
And we have been posting our summer walks on the Meetup group this summer, and we've had non-Volkswalkers come to these walks, which is great. That's what I was hoping would happen, to get more people walking.
Right.
Now, clubs promote their events, and there's any number of ways they do that. They do that on the web. They have brochures. It's in our newspapers and magazines. And so we'll go to other clubs' events, but they'll come to our events also, which is great. So you get to mix it up and meet some really interesting people.
Yeah.
I've said this before, I do have some great Volkswalking friends, but probably my best Volkswalking friends don't belong to the clubs I'm a member of. They're members of other clubs, and I'll run into them on a walk.
Right.
A good example of this is the Whidbey Island walks. This has been going on for a number of years, and they have historically been held every other year, the weekend right after Labor Day. So I've gone to the Whidbey walks a couple times, and I have friends there that have come down from Canada, people have come up from California, people have come as far away as Wisconsin and Iowa to do some of these walks.
Wow.
And so it's always great fun to see my friends, and we exchange emails so we know you're coming.
That's great.
Sometimes we'll host one another and put up our friends, or likewise I can couch surf if I need to.
Yeah, right.
When I'm up in Victoria. I have and I do.
So what is it, other than what you just described, making friends and of course walking, what is it that you like the most about it, Rick?
It's discovering places I thought I knew. Now, I like to travel. I've always been a traveler, but I've always enjoyed walking. As I said, I did it way back in high school.
Right,
and you see things at a very different scale as a pedestrian or on a bike than you do in a car or on a train. It's that simple. A lot of my favorite places to walk are places I've been going to myself for 10 or 15 or 20 years.
Right.
I go for a weekend and I'll walk them. And I have fun. It doesn't matter if it's a small town or a large city, or an international destination. And the other thing I wanted to say, we, in addition to these year-round walks I've been alluding to, you can do these free walks any day of the year. If you go onto the webpage, look under the 2013 schedule, it'll tell you where all these places are we're going to walk. But these are walks you can do any day of the year.
Do it on your own.
And then the club does the group walks, typically 2 Saturdays a month. And by the way, we alternate with our sister club up in Sequim.
Oh, nice.
And they do their group walks on the 2nd and 4th Saturday of the month.
Oh, nice.
And there's a link to that club. So if you want to do group walks on Saturdays, there's 2 clubs here in the immediate area you can do.
That's
and of course you can go over to Seattle and other places.
How about Tacoma, Gig Harbor? Have you checked
Absolutely.
those out?
I've done most of those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But the other kind of walk we do are the event or traditional walks. We only did 1 set of those this year, and that was back on Memorial Day weekend. And we partnered with the group in Sequim and the group on Whidbey Island, and we did the Triangle of Fire walks, which were great, because we had a walk at Fort Worden, Fort Flagler, and Fort Casey. And each club hosted a walk, so we had 3 walks over the Memorial Day weekend. That's an event we did 3 years ago, we did it this year, and we'll probably do it again in a couple years. That's the goal.
Nice, very nice. So many of us enjoy walking. We do it for exercise, we do it to clear our heads, help us with our stress, all that beautiful, healthy ideas.
Absolutely.
But Volks walking and Volks marching is a great way to check out a community, see things in a whole different way, and get to know the locals. I mean, how easy and how wonderful is that?
It is great.
I want to commend you for bringing this to light again, because I had heard about it, like I said, many years ago, and I thought it had kind of died out, and it probably had a little bit.
Well, I had heard about it too, and I was under the impression it was for seniors only.
Oh,
and really advanced seniors. And I'm pleased to say that's not the case. That is not the case at all. I love it when kids do come out and family members come out. Haven't seen a lot of kids this summer, but I'm sure we're going to do the summer walking series again next summer. And we'd like to have you come out and just hit the trails with us.
That's right. Check out Volkswalking in your community, in your county, in your state, because there's lots of different places to do it. Go to the website that you see on the screen, and we want to thank you, Rick, for talking to us about it, and welcome again to our community.
Thank you so much.
And thanks so much for talking to us about Volks marching.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Around Kitsap.
See you on the trails.